fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Leader Class Armada Universe Megatron from the Transformers Legacy Evolution line from Hasbro. Just got this in today. I ordered it from Hasbro Pulse, and it just arrived, and I'm very excited to take a look at it. Typical Leader Class packaging here. We have a totally enclosed box with some really nice artwork of Megatron here on the front in both robot and tank alt modes. Over here on this side, again, we have a close-up of Megatron, and then we have a picture of the tank mode down here. Spinning it around to the side, we have that kind of typical half of the Evolution mural. Not really anything going on the bottom. Up here, we have the Legacy Evolution logo and the QR code for the tech specs. And spinning around to the back, we have some product shots of the robot mode and the vehicle mode, along with the Evo Fusion gimmick. Just like the original Armada toy, that tank turret can spin around from the back and be positioned here on the front. No mini-con included, which I have to admit is kind of a bummer, but I'm hoping they do some kind of like mini-con pack, maybe for a Pulse exclusive or something like that, a little bit down the road, because we are missing a few. We need Swindle for Starscream, we need Jolt for Hotshot, and now we need Leader 1 for Megatron here. And I'm probably going to need Sparkplug for Armada Prime as well, as he should be out fairly soon. So I'm excited for this one. I'm going to go ahead and get him out of the packaging here, and we're going to take a closer look. So here is Armada Megatron in tank mode. This is how he comes packaged. Not in robot mode, as most do. He comes packaged in the tank mode here. And I think it looks pretty great. Rolls pretty nicely. Looks exactly like the original G1 toy from what I remember. Obviously, it does not have all of the features that it did. Honestly, it doesn't even have any mini-con ports, which I was kind of surprised about. It does have your normal kind of, 5mm ports that you can attach other things. I thought they'd kind of throw in 1 or 2 mini-con ports just for some foreshadowing, but they have not, so maybe it really isn't on the horizon. But still looks really good. I really like it quite a bit. Really like all the paint applications. You have this really nice Decepticon symbol here, and the silver behind it looks great. All of the orange and the yellow. I think on the original toy, these flipped open as one of the features. That doesn't happen. I think he had like storage on the side here. That also is not a thing. But overall, it's a very nice kind of compact version of the original Armada Megatron. And I think it looks pretty fantastic. Now, in this mode, you can spin the turret around. You can move this part of the barrel up and down. You can also flip this gun up, but unfortunately mine just immediately popped off as I moved that up for the very first time. The thing that's weird to me, if you look at this, there are 4 tabs right there, and there are 4 tab holes, peg holes, whatever you want to call them. So it plugs in, but it's not snug enough to keep it on there. So like it plugs into all 4 of those and none of the pegs broke. It's just not, there's not enough friction to keep it on there. So I don't know if it was glued or if it wasn't glued and it was always just like this. I mean, I guess I could just glue it myself. Honestly, it's not the biggest problem to have because as you can see, there's a giant tab slot right there. So I just kind of pop it back on and then snap it on, and it's on there. I mean, it's not going anywhere. If I want to utilize that, because this does pop up and has the ability to swivel around, you can kind of just use gravity to help you out, and it'll stay on there. So, like, it's an inconvenience, and it's a bummer. Right out of the box, the first thing I moved broke off. But again, it's not really broken. It's just not made in a way to stay together, if that makes sense. It's really kind of weird, because like I said, I thought for sure one of these, pegs broke off. But no, I mean, it pegs right on there. It's just that the friction from the peg and the peg hole is not enough to keep it in place. So, battle damage, I guess. I don't know, it's just weird. I could always just kind of put something in there or some kind of, glue or something to keep it on there, and maybe I will eventually. But for now, it's not the biggest inconvenience. It's just kind of stupid, honestly. But I'll just pop it back on there and it's good to go. So at least it didn't break off from the hinge. At least there's that. But yeah, overall, I do think it looks pretty cool. I think the tank works well. The treads are not real. It does have wheels underneath here. And you have the Megatron head with the giant pincer claws there, which I think is fun. So yeah, just all in all, I think it looks pretty good. You have a little bit of open space down here, not the biggest deal. But that's really the only thing I can think of. And missing Minicon ports, which is kind of a bummer. But I guess you could just peg them onto one of these if you did something like that. So that should work. But yeah, tank mode looks pretty good. Transformation is actually pretty simple and pretty reminiscent of the original toy. We'll start by coming down here to what will become the feet, and we'll just flip them out. And they're kind of tight, so just be a little careful with it, but there we go. And then you can flip the heel out back here. So come around to this side, flip that up, and flip out the heel. So if you ever wanted to just have a tank stand completely upward like it's getting ready to blast off into space, hey, there you go. Next, we're going to take these panels underneath and just kind of lift them up. They don't really lift up much more than that, but you just kind of want to unpeg them. And then you want to unpeg the green part here where it meets the black. And then that'll allow you to kind of extend out the whole leg. And then once you do that, you can close this panel back up. So it's nice because it fills in the leg area, but also kind of like soft tabs in here. I think it tabs into this little section right here. So it's nice. It covers up some areas in both modes. So we're going to unpeg this, and then that'll allow us to bring this down. Yeah, so you can see this little tab right there, which is kind of like soft tabbed in there. Close that up, and there you go. We have our legs. So I'm going to move the camera up a little bit. So as you can see, the robot mode is pretty much already taking shape. We're going to come around to the back turret here, and you can actually rotate this to the right, like so. And that should give you clearance to spin the waist 180 degrees, just like that. Then we can pop that back, and then this just kind of comes down here, and it kind of hits a natural stopping point so that the barrel's kind of at a 45-degree angle. There you go. Next up, we are going to lift up these purple panels here. Just like that. And then these black pieces here are pegged into what will be the shoulder pieces. So you're going to unpeg those by pushing them down, and they'll kind of rotate in and kind of fill out the abdomen section here. So this pops off and rotates in. There we go. Then these will come all the way down to the side, like so. And then these will kind of go back up and then push down like that. Now, unfortunately, they don't lock into place. And I've seen a lot of people mention this online. They don't move. Like, you can't move the entire arm. You can only move at this joint here. But they kind of flop down. Like, I wish there was a way. I feel like there would have been an easy way to put a peg somewhere in here so that once this goes in, that pegs in, and then you can move the arm. But it's a little floppy in this area, which is kind of a bummer. So then we're going to open up these panels here on the side, like that, and then rotate out the entire arm, which can be kind of difficult. I find kind of getting a nail and grabbing onto this little ledge right here is the easiest way to do it. But you can see as I'm trying to move this down, it's bringing the entire arm down with it, which is kind of a bummer. But then you're just going to close that up and then close that up. Even if it was something where, like, there was a peg here, and then when you closed this, that would lock it into place. That would have been enough, honestly, but actually, I guess that wouldn't have mattered because it still would move over here. Never mind. Anyway, it needs something to lock it into place. Then we're just going to spin the hands out of the forearms like so. So repeat that over here. Open up this side panel, grab a hold, flip this around, holding the shoulder in place. Close that up, and then just rotate the fist out. And as you can see, we're 90% done at this point. The last little step here, instead of the old toy where you just took this and just pushed it down and then this sank down in, they have you bring this down, fold this in, and then close it back up. This thing actually doesn't do anything at all. That's just for show because the original toy had it. But there we go. There is our Armada Megatron in robot mode. Looks very, very similar to the original. I think it looks pretty great. I like it quite a bit. Head sculpt, it's a little difficult to see because the shoulders cast so much shadow, but really nicely done. Nice red eyes there. The silver paint, everything. The crazy ears here really work. These are also just pegged in, so you can just unpeg these. If you've always wanted a classic Megatron type head. Honestly, without them, I think he looks like Starscream. But if you've ever wanted to see what he looked like just without those things, they just peg on. Very simple. They're kind of a softer plastic. They're not rubbery, I wouldn't say, but they're definitely softer. So you can't, you know, hurt yourself with them. And why am I bad at putting these back on? Am I doing it backwards? That's probably why. Okay, so they do come out, but maybe I wouldn't recommend it. Because I'm having a difficult time. I think I'm not lining it up. There you go. I wasn't lining it up correctly. Again, the shoulders cast a lot of shadow. So it's kind of hard to see in there. But you know what? I could just do this, and then, hey, there's all the shadow gone. So there you go. There's a good look. Also, he can kind of do that, like, you know, weird flex pose. I don't know. But the head looks good. I really do think that came out great. It's on a ball joint. You can get a little bit of down, not really anything back. Certainly side to side, no problem. Can't really tilt side to side all that much. But it does look good. Put those back up. Let's see. So the way these joints work, you can move out to the side. You can move up. You can lift this up if you want to get more clearance like that. Then you have a bicep swivel slightly over 90 at the elbow. And then you do have a wrist swivel. So he's got two different hands, as you can probably see. He's got kind of a traditional fist over here. And then he's got this weird kind of hand. I don't really know what's going on with this. The only thing I can think of is the original toy had a gimmick where you plugged a Minicon onto his forearm and slid it forward, and a blade like came out of the channel and then flipped up, so it looked like he was holding it. And so I'm guessing this hand is kind of meant to simulate or remind you of that, because that hand had to be like weirdly wide so that the blade could clear, but they didn't put the blade feature in, which obviously I didn't expect them to, but I guess just as a fun little homage, they made the hand strange like that. But anyway, so you got the forearm, or I should say the wrist swivel. Your forearm is pretty. Now, I don't know if you can hear this. It's kind of a weird joint there in the elbow. It's not a problem. Hopefully it won't be a problem. But it makes kind of a weird noise. So we'll see how that goes. You have a waist swivel. No problem there. If we move the arm out of the way, he can kick very nicely out to the side, really nicely forward. The back, it depends on how you have the cannon oriented. Is there a way I can move this to kick further back? Not really. He's not really going to kick that far back. That's okay. He's got a thigh swivel. He's got 90 degrees solidly there in the knee. And then he does have ankle tilt, even though it looks like it might not be there. This whole block, and it's kind of hard to get it to move, honestly. Like at first I thought to myself, am I going to break it? Like, is it meant to do this? But it is. And you can see how they kind of put that like fake joint in there, which I always think is cool when they do that. So he does, obviously it's moving on this pin here, but they put that kind of fake piece in there so it doesn't just look weirdly empty. But yeah, he's got ankle tilt. So let's get this one going so he can have ankle tilt here. Yeah, pretty cool. I like him. I really do. I wish he had his features like the original toy, but I totally get that they're not going to do that. But he looks good. I really like him. I think all the colors came out great. The head sculpt looks good. My only complaint is the shoulders. I kind of wish that they locked into place somehow. But yeah, that's really my only problem with that. So a little behind the scenes for you guys. I don't know if you heard that weird sound in the background. I have all of my like Progrise keys and Wonder Ride books in a bin over here to my right. and one of them just randomly went off in the bin. So that was fun. In any case, let's go ahead and show off the couple features that he does have. He doesn't have all of the Minicon ports and things like that, but he does still retain some of his original features. So what you can do, first up, you can just kind of lift up the arm, bring this around, and slide this around like that, which I think was one of his features back in the original toy. They had a port here, and then you could bring that underneath. I don't really know why he needed to activate that feature, but I know he did it on the show a lot. So if you want to just have the cannon there as like a hip gun, you can absolutely do that. The other thing you can do, that the original toy could do, you can grab, you want to grab at the waist, so the abdomen is going to go up. It's not just this part, it's the abdomen as well. Grab a hold of this and pull this out like so, and then kind of lift the arms up, and you're probably going to have to do this where you flip that down for clearance purposes, but then this should rotate all the way around, and it's a little tight, but you can do it. And then you can clip this back up and then push this back in, and then you can have the turret on the front, which is again another thing that was one of his features. Now, you're supposed to be able to flip this out as well, which, I mean, it'll kind of stay. The other thing I can do is, because this is the piece that comes off, I can just rotate it so that part is up, and then gravity will just help me out. So there you go. You can have those two guns facing forward. Now, I know a lot of people have speculated that you have these kind of ports here on the back and these on the forearms. Maybe a tidal wave is coming, and maybe he would be able to kind of wear tidal wave as the armor like he did back in the day. Only time will tell. We'll see how that goes. But a commander class tidal wave could be very, very, very cool. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this back on and clip that into place. And then we have to... And this is kind of tight, and it takes a lot of force, so don't be afraid. I'm always kind of afraid I'm going to break it, but I think it should be fine. We'll spin this back around here like so. Line this up, and then close this back down and clip this back up. And another thing you can do, the last little thing, this is something the original toy actually could not do. You can remove the barrel, and then you can take either one of the arms and rotate them back in. Let me make sure that the hand is straight, and then rotate that back in. And you can see that there's a little plug right there, and then boom, now he can have a cannon firing arm, which is kind of cool. Or the whole arm can just... What, Megatron, what is happening to you? You are just popping off at all the wrong times here. There we go. It's just a mushroom peg, so you just slide it right back on. Not a problem. Not a big issue. But yeah, so there you go. He's got a little cannon arm, which is kind of cool. A little shockwave vibe going on there. Doing his shockwave impression. But that's neat. You know, another little feature that the original didn't have that I think is kind of fun. I personally like the look of him having, you know, the giant turret on his back. That he's almost kind of like wielding it like a sword. Like he's got it on his back at a 45-degree angle like a sword, which I think is kind of cool. And I like having this flip up like that. I always thought that was a cool feature. And I like spinning the whole turret around. I think that's cool too. It's just takes a little bit of oomph. Push that down. There we go. But yeah, overall, pretty neat. I like the features that he does have. Obviously, I am missing all the Minicon ports and the crazy things that, you know, it could do. And it's kind of funny, like, when Armada happened, I was like, I don't really need all these gimmicks. And now looking back at it, I'm like, it was neat. It was something new. It was fun. I don't want it all the time, but for a change, it was neat. And to now have these guys without that stuff, it kind of feels like they're missing an integral part. But it's also kind of nice to have those designs and characters without the gimmicks so that you can just kind of have a nice, clean version of them. So it's kind of like, you know, you can have it both ways. You have the original toy for all the bells and whistles, and then you have this toy for kind of a nice, clean version of that design without a bunch of weird things hanging off. Like, he's pretty clean, honestly, I think. Yes, he's got the turret on the back, but that's a big part of his design. And he's definitely a lot more streamlined and less bulky and everything. So, I think he looks pretty great. And then here's a little Armada group shot of all the ones we've had so far. Still waiting on Prime. I believe he just came out today on Hasbro Pulse, so hopefully they'll be shipping it to me soon. I think they did charge me for it, so that's a step in the right direction. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice to have the main cast. I mean, yes, it's not the entire main cast, but obviously kind of the two, once Prime arrives, we'll have the two most important characters on each side, kind of the first and second in command. But yeah, I'm hoping they'll do more. Honestly, it's kind of like I said, I didn't appreciate Armada very much at the time, but now it's gotten old enough that I can kind of have nostalgia for it and look back on it probably more fondly than I did while it was happening. And so to kind of get these redone characters, especially Hotshot, because the original Hotshot toy, while it was fun, you know, he didn't have proper elbows or shoulders, you know what I mean? So to kind of give us a new version that does is very cool in my opinion. So we'll see who's next. Maybe Red Alert. Maybe... Who did the Decepticons have? Oh, of course we got to get Demolisher and Cyclonus. Yeah, so it'll be cool. I hope they keep going. We'll see how it goes. There's a lot of Transformer history to get through with these lines, but I think they're starting to realize they've mostly exhausted G1. Like, they're always going to have to do some G1. And I still need my Autobot Target Masters to be finished. But in any case... It's fun to get some new Armada stuff. I think that's really cool. But I do want the minicons. Even if they don't trigger features, I still want new, better articulated versions of the minicons. So that's going to do it for Legacy Evolution Armada Megatron. For the most part, I like him a lot. I really do. I've always kind of liked this design. At the time, it was a large departure for Megatron. We were used to seeing him mostly as G1 or a dinosaur. That was really all we had at the time. So this was definitely a departure from his traditional color scheme, but I like it. And especially with nostalgia and looking back, I've come to appreciate it so much more over the years. And it's a really fun design. I think it's a cool tank mode. I really like the robot mode, even with the crazy antlers. I don't know why they're there, but they've become an integral part of his design, and I really do like them. So I think this is a really fun toy. The only things I really have to complain about, obviously this piece here on the back, I'm hesitant to use the word broke because nothing on it is actually broken. It just doesn't hold together unless it's snapped in. So maybe I could just glue it or something. And honestly, at this point, I'm probably just going to leave it pegged in most of the time because it'll stay there as long as it's pegged in. It's just weird to me that as soon as I went to move it, it fell off, which to me really feels like it just was never fully connected to begin with because I didn't have to apply much pressure to it. It just popped off. And like I said, those pegs and the peg holes just don't have enough friction to keep it sandwiched together, which is weird. Definitely a design flaw there, I feel. But let me know if anyone else has that issue with theirs. Let me know in the comments because I have not seen anyone else talk about that so far. So I don't know if mine had a little bit of glue and the glue just broke, you know, by the time it got to me, which is very possible, or I don't know, maybe it was a running change and I got an older one. I don't know. But in any case, if anyone else has that issue, let me know. But I can just kind of leave it pegged in. It's not the big a deal. Just rotate it so gravity helps me keep it together. Not the biggest problem. It's annoying, but not the biggest problem. But the amount of detail, you know, all of the little silver and dark gray and yellow accents and everything really pop, really look sharp. I really like that a lot. I really like his design. I think this is a really nice, streamlined version of this character. Like I said, if you want all the bells and whistles, you want all the crazy minicon gimmicks, you know, the original toy is still out there and still a solid toy. But if you just want a streamlined, clean version of this character, this is pretty perfect. Transforms very similarly to the original toy. It's fairly basic transformation, but I don't need it to be super complicated. He just looks good. You know, a lot of nice paint. The articulation's pretty good. I do complain about the shoulders. I do kind of wish that those locked in. I mean, like I said, it does help if you need to light the head properly, so I guess I'll give it that. But it would be nice if they kind of clicked into place. Now, again, not a huge deal breaker, a minor annoyance, but it would have been nice. Otherwise, I mean, I guess technically I didn't talk about he's got these really open panels here. It would have been nice if there was something, like maybe there was a hinge here and it flipped open and then you rotated them out and then it flipped back closed. Again, not a deal breaker. Would have been nice. Not a deal breaker. But yeah, he's fun. I like him a lot. I really do. I have really come to enjoy this character and this version of Megatron over the years. So it's strange to think that it's been long enough that we're nostalgic for Armada. because it's been 20 years, and that's crazy to think about. It's really crazy to think it's been 20 years since Armada happened. But here we are, and now we're nostalgic for it, and we're having fun with it. So I think this guy's fun. Definitely check him out. Like I said, I got mine from Hasbro Pulse, but I know a lot of people have started finding him in Walmarts. I would imagine he'll start showing up around. Originally, it was like an August 1st release date, so this is actually fairly close for once. Usually, in the last couple waves, we've had Hasbro tell us, you know, August 1st, and then it comes out in June or even May. But this time, they're pretty close. So, yeah, mid-July, early mid-July as opposed to August 1st. But I believe he's in stock on Pulse right now. So if you want to get him over there, otherwise we'll probably start showing up at Amazon soon, Walmart's, Targets, etc., etc. But yeah, he's fun. I like him. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And as always, thank you so much for watching.